Some letters were never meant to be found, but sometimes they find you. Daniel was a janitor, not the kind of man people noticed. He cleaned floors, emptied trash cans, and kept to himself, but he liked it that way. He had just started working at an old hospital facility, one that had shut down years ago. The city was converting it into a museum of medical history. Until then, it was his job to prepare it for inspection. One morning, while sweeping near an old nurse's station, Daniel knocked over a loose wooden panel behind a shelf. Behind it, something fell. A metal box, rusty, heavy, marked in red ink, 213. He opened it. Inside, stacks of handwritten letters, all folded, organized, and tied with a faded ribbon. Each envelope had a name, a date, most from the late 1970s, some as recent as 2002. They were all addressed to people who never received them, and all signed by patients who were terminally ill. Dear Sophie, to my son, to the one I loved and never said it. Some letters were smudged with tears, others barely legible, but all were full of something he rarely saw: raw, unfiltered humanity. He couldn't just leave them. He took the box home. Over the next weeks, he read every single one and began tracking down the names. Some were impossible to trace, but others, he found families, children, people who had no idea these final words even existed. He began mailing the letters one by one, with no return address. Then came one letter that stopped him cold. It was addressed simply, "To my son, born May 3rd, 1987. That was his birthday. He stared at the envelope for hours. It had no name, only the sender's initials, M.R. He opened it, hands trembling. "I don't know if you'll ever read this. I wasn't allowed to hold you. They told me it was better that way. But I've never stopped wondering if you'd look like me, if you'd ever forgive me. If you ever find this, just know you were never a mistake. You were my beginning." Daniel dropped the letter. He was shaking. He turned it over and saw something he hadn't noticed before. Taped to the back, a hospital bracelet with the name Michael Rivera, his father's name. The name he had spent his entire life trying to find. Daniel sat for hours. He reread the letter until every word was carved into his memory. This wasn't just a note. It was a map, a bridge to someone he never got the chance to know. All his life, the space where a father should have been was silence. Now it had a voice, gentle, regretful, real. He needed to know more. He found the hospital's archived patient list from 1987. There it was, Michael Rivera, room 213, terminal cancer, admitted 3 weeks before Daniel's birth. Passed away one day after Daniel was placed in foster care. Daniel checked the ID number from the bracelet. It matched his own birth records. This wasn't a coincidence. It was his father, the man who never held him, but wrote to him anyway. Daniel returned to the hospital, box 213 in hand. He sat alone in room 213, the same place the letters had been written. He didn't speak, he didn't cry, He just read the letter out loud, as if someone was still listening. "I found you. You didn't fail. You reached me in the end." Daniel kept delivering the other letters, one by one, but he also began writing his own, to strangers, to friends, to his future children. Because now he knew, sometimes a letter can change a life, even decades later, even after goodbye. Have you ever received a message at the exact moment you needed it? What would you say in a letter to someone you never got to meet? Share your story in the comments. Someone might need to hear it. If this story moved you, subscribe to Resilient Stories for more real emotional journeys every week. Stories of connection, loss, second chances, and the quiet power of hope. Because the right words have a way of finding us.